Research for video games is not an easy job, especially when it comes to creating the game's setting based on a real-life place. In movies and TV shows, it's probably enough to show a sliver of a New York street, even though it was probably shot in LA or Vancouver. But games require entire worlds to be built for them, which means mistakes become all the more likely. I'm Lucas Sullivan, Senior Editor at Games Radar Plus, and I'm here to talk about games that got real-life places wrong, along with just how wrong they were, and how hilarious the outcome was. CN Tower in Deus Ex Human Revolution. Deus Ex prides itself on being a global experience. From medical facilities in China to research installations in the Arctic Ocean, the game takes you on a whirlwind world tour while Adam Jensen fights to save humanity. When Jensen first lands on the roof of Picus Tower, a real-world structure known as the Montreal Olympic Stadium Tower, he can take a breather to check out the beautiful Montreal skyline, where the CN Tower is visible. Thing is, the CN Tower is actually in Toronto, which is approximately 350 miles away from Montreal, and well outside a normal human's range of vision. Dang, Adam, those eye enhancements were worth every penny.
Our office is in the tower. Room 4.
Eater Dam in Call of Duty. In the British campaign from the original Call of Duty, you play Sergeant Evans, and one of your first tasks is to destroy heavy arms stationed at Eater Dam in Germany. But there's something off about the whole thing, like the gigantic mountain that isn't actually there in real life. Clearly, Call of Duty was playing fast and loose with German geography here, because that horizon is suffering from a serious case of misplaced mountain. It's not as though you can blame this on the era either, because while plenty of things have changed over the decades, mountain orientation isn't really one of them. That program peak is clearly an allusion to the Alps, which can be found in Germany, just over 300 miles south of the Eater Dam. The San Andreas Fault in Duke Nukem 3D. In the first act of Duke Nukem 3D, the Duke Meister goes on a mission to save Earth from an alien invasion and tracks the ringleader down to the San Andreas Fault in California. The path is filled with vicious alien octopi hovering over deadly lava traps that fill the fault's canyon-esque expanse. Which is odd, because the fault is actually pretty skinny in real life, and there's no lava whatsoever there, because, you know, science. Basically, Nukem's hellish fire escape is set in the same place that upper middle class families go on hiking trips. Choke on those facts, Nukem, but then Duke Nukem probably isn't smart enough to realize that.
Come get some.
These contestants have ice water running through their stomachs.
Stonehenge in the Simpsons game. The third level of the Simpsons game, titled Around the World in 80 Bites, centers on an elaborate food-eating contest that showcases cuisines from across the globe. Each mini-land contains famous landmarks to clarify what national food Homer is inhaling, like the Leaning Tower of Pizza next to a giant pizza pie, or the Statue of Liberty holding a burger and fries. But the game makes an egregious error in the Scotland section, where Homer has to knock over Stonehenge to progress. Problem is, Stonehenge isn't in Scotland. It's in Wiltshire, England, roughly 40 miles from the country's southern coast, which is about as far away from Scotland as you could get before falling into the ocean. Worst national representation ever.
Peace officer coming through.
New York City's Chinatown in Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve is a bit different from Square's earlier efforts, with its American urban horror set in New York City. Naturally, the whole post-apocalypse thing makes the place seem a little less colorful, but something about this digital representation of the Big Apple seems a bit off. The best example would be the game's rendering of Chinatown, which looks absolutely nothing like the real thing. Parasite Eve's Chinatown is a pretty bare-bones place, with just a few hanging signs and vaguely Asian-inspired gateways to clue the player in, and it pales in comparison to what Chinatown actually looks like. Square's version even added in structures that don't exist in reality, like a Chinatown gateway. Clearly, someone fell asleep while their friend was showing off vacation pics. The Oakland Bay Bridge in Resistance 2. In Resistance 2, aliens launch a surprise attack against the United States, starting at the coasts and moving inland. Our heroes watch in dismay as alien ships charge over the city, silhouetted against explosions and... is that the Golden Gate Bridge? Not exactly. While it might not jump out to those who have only seen the famous Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge looks distinctly different, and from the structure, there's no question which one makes an appearance in Resistance. It's also consistent with the layout of the city, putting the bunker somewhere on Yerba Buena Island. And yet, for some reason, the Bay Bridge has that orange-red hue that the Golden Gate is known for. It was probably meant to make the city instantly recognizable, but why not just show the actual Golden Gate?
Maybe less if you can keep these hostiles off me.
Flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we are searching for the helicopter of our compatriots, Bravo Team.
The Midwest in Resident Evil. Sometimes developers want the simplicity of using a real-world setting without being constrained by the features of an existing location. This is where the classic small-town USA comes in, allowing creators to set their game in a vaguely recognizable area while getting to make up the rest. But sometimes the finer details start to make no sense. Case in point, Raccoon City from Resident Evil, which is supposedly located at the base of a mountain range in the American Midwest. That's not a thing. While there are several mountain ranges in the continental US, none of them are in the Midwest. The description of Raccoon City's surrounding area is better suited to the Pacific Northwest, which has plenty of mountains and 1,000 trees for every lumberjack. But the Midwest? It's a little flatter than you're looking for. So, can you personally attest to any of these landmark inaccuracies? Let us know in the comments below. And for more videos like this one, be sure to go to youtube.com/gamesradar.